Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Apologies for the voice. Been a little under the weather the last 2-3 days. Little hoarse, kind of like a little scratch in my throat. So I apologize for the scratchy voice, but we're gonna push through. We're gonna talk some MLS. We're gonna talk some Messi, Inter Miami. We're gonna have a discussion about Supporter Shield versus MLS Cup. It's gonna be a very, very fun, interesting stream tonight. Also, we're gonna have my buddy Favian stop by probably in the next 20 minutes. He's gonna give us some thoughts, talk about Messi, Inter Miami, let us know what he thinks. But before let's just go ahead and get started. Let's jump into this because I'm excited to talk about Messi and Inter Miami and this huge debate that's been all over Twitter or X today. So Messi had a great game against Columbus Crew, 2 goals, and they were able to beat one of the hottest teams in the league, Columbus Crew. Some people thought the Columbus Crew were actually the kryptonite to Inter Miami, and they're definitely the kryptonite to LAFC. But they were able to win this game, and they were able to secure the MLS Supporter Shield. Now, a lot of people don't put a lot of stock into that trophy. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but nonetheless, they are going to finish the season with the most points of any team in Major League Soccer in 2024. But another point I wanted to make or talk about was Messi, right? I want to start off with the MVP conversation because I had been saying it was Cucho Hernandez. I was saying that Messi couldn't be MVP because he had only played 17 out of 32 games thus far. A little over half. He hasn't started even half the games. He's only played 50. He's only started 15 out of the potential 32 MLS matches in the regular season. Excuse me. And I think that was, or it was, had a feeling that was disqualifying because how can you give somebody that's missed that many games the most valuable player trophy of the league? And his teammate Luis Suarez had, I want to say he's at 18 goals right now, and he's played 21, 22 matches. So he's played over half. He's played more matches. I was thinking, well, if there's going to be a player in Miami, it's going to be Luis Suarez that wins it, just because the more games he's played, he's the Golden Boot winner on the team, potentially the Golden Boot winner of the league. But and then Cucho Hernandez has had a good season, right? And I said it had to be someone that was on a good team and had good stats, and that's why I had Cucho Hernandez up until recently as the MVP. Now, Evander's having a great season, and I got a lot of hate saying that Evander is, undoubtedly the MVP. I'm crazy. I'm hating. They don't have to be on a good team to be the most valuable player, which I think is BS because I've done a lot of looking and research, and there has never been an MLS MVP that I saw that was 8th place or 9th place in their conference. So, it's sad for Evander. It's unfortunate, but he plays on a bad team. So that's just how it is. I think that disqualifies him from getting a real fair look at it because his team isn't good. Now, is he a great player? Yes. Is he a starting 11 player? Yes. But the problem is that he's not good enough to prevail his team to be a top 4, top 5 team in his conference, let alone the league. So that's got to be some points against him. You're a good player, a very good player on a bad team. It's unfortunate, but I don't think he should win MLS MVP. Now, moving on to Messi. I said a minute ago, I think that Messi missing a lot of games, I was preaching that was disqualifying. There's no way he could win it. After yesterday, I've completely changed my tune. He's the best player in this league. Hell, we're going to have a discussion if he's the best player in the world. I think there's a real argument that Messi is still the best player on the planet right this moment. I believe he could walk on any team in the world and walk into their starting 11 easily. And he's putting up numbers that some guys don't put up in a 34-game season. He's done it in 17 games. 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 goal contributions in 17 games. I mean, how can you not give him the award? There's a legitimate chance that Messi's going to score 20 goals this year, and it's probably not likely he will have 20 assists. Now, keep in mind, these are technically hockey assists where if you passed it to the guy who assisted the player, it counts for you. It's not the traditional soccer assist. If we're going by those numbers, he's only got 10 assists, which is still to have a double double in only 17 games is still crazy. But there's a legitimate chance that Messi could have 20 goals and 20 assists in 19 matches. How do you not give him the MVP? He is by far the best player in the league. He's by far the most valuable player in the league. And yeah, Miami did win without him, but they wouldn't be who they are without him, if that makes any sense. They wouldn't have anything without him, if that makes sense. And we're not just we're talking about the on-field quality, and we're talking about the off-field quality with the players he was able to help this team attract. He's the whole package. I think he's MVP. I think he's the best player in the world still. Bare minimum, he's top 3. And I think that he's the 2024 MLS MVP. I would love to know what you guys think in the chat. Do you guys think that Lionel Messi, the Argentine number 10, my GOAT, do you think that he is the 2024 MLS MVP? Let me know in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think. Now, what's it? Aurora Vasquez says Messi GOAT. Cringe says Messi is the GOAT, hands down. Soccer Daddy says Cucho did nothing other than scoring penalty versus Miami. Cringe says the supporter shield should receive way more respect. It shows more the true essence of collective team's ability throughout a season. We will get to that. We'll get to that later because I have strong feelings about that. I tweeted about today, saw other people talking about it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Mr. Very, very consistent, very supportive member of the channel says, "Hi, Will. I personally couldn't give it to Messi. Yes, his numbers are still outstanding. He is still one of the best players in the world, but he's missed too much time for me." I thought the same thing, Mr. But then I realized what he's done this year is insane. Now, I agree that like in traditional sense, it would be disqualifying to be the MVP when you miss that many games, but he is the best player. He is the linchpin of Inter Miami. He is the most valuable player in this league. And I don't think it's really even close. I mean, Mr. Think about this. 17 goals, 15 assists in 17 games played. And he didn't even play a full 90 in all those games. He's only started 15 games this year, and he's got 17 goals and 15 assists. If this man had played 34 matches this year, he legitimately could have scored 40 or 50 goals. I believe that. If he was healthy and he played 34 matches in a Major League Soccer and kept in form like he is right now, no injury derailment, no other players out, he could score 50 goals in this league. He could score 50 goals and probably have 30 or 40 assists, legitimately 30 or 40 assists. I believe that. But he didn't do that. But still, let's look up the statistics, compare him to some other players who are playing right this moment, who played more games. Okay, look at this, for example. Denny Bouanga, 30 games played, 19 goals, 10 assists. Messi has played in 13 less games than Denny Bouanga, and he's got 2 less goals. He's got 5 more assists. He's got 3 more goal contributions than Denny Bouanga. Cucho Hernandez, the guy that I said would be my runner-up. The guy said it'd be my runner-up, or was my favorite, excuse me. He'd be my runner-up now, but he was my favorite to win the MVP in the power rankings last week. 17 goals, tied with Messi. 13 assists, 2 less than Messi. 8 more appearances. 8 more appearances. Now, Evander is the darling of Major League Soccer right now. Everybody is just oozing over Evander and just, googly eyes for Evander right now. He's having a good season. He's really good. He's just on a bad team. Evander has played in 9 more matches than Messi. He's got 2 less goals, and he's got 3 more assists. So him and Messi are technically, let's see. So he's got 1 more goal contribution than Messi, but he's played in 9 more games. He's played over 800 more minutes. That's another thing you got to take into consideration. Look how many minutes he's played. Excuse me. So, I mean, that Messi is just doing something we have never seen before. Messi is performing at unreal margins and at an unreal pace. And if he had played the full season, this wouldn't even be a debate. But what he's been able to do in the time he's played, and when it's all said and done, he'll play 19 of 34 games. I think you have to give it to him. And you know the league wants to. Clara Carp says, agree 100%. Soccer Daddy says, Messi MVP or Suarez. I'll talk about that in a second. Elmer says, I agree with you. If you put Gomez from Inter on Evander's team, then he would have been MVP. Bad teams are disqualified. Yeah, because what does it really mean if you're the best player on a bad team? What does that mean? You're putting up good statistics. Your stat padding, and he's good. Like I'm not taking anything away from him. He is a good player, but it's like, what does that mean if you're the best player on a bad team? Like, what does that mean? You weren't good enough to elevate your team to be a good team? Clara says, Messi should be MVP since he managed to be more relevant to the team in a less amount of games. It's actually more impressive. Exactly. Think about all the time he's missed and possibly the chemistry and because obviously when you get back into the starting 11, you have to training is one thing, but game action of getting back on the same page with their teammates. I mean, he's just like smooth. It's just smooth sailing, like no issues. Just another cog in the machine, keeping it going. Probably the biggest cog in the machine, but keeping it going, not missing a step, and just playing lights out. It's impressive to see what he's doing. Summer says exactly, and this is what I've always said. Yes, he has missed, but his achievement is crazy, and without him, Miami would not have this team, and the players will not be at the level that they are now. He single-handedly made Miami relevant and is writing their history on how they will be remembered and how competitive they will be. And just, I mean, Messi's essentially making this a super team or super club in Major League Soccer. He's building their legacy right now. Elmer says Miami would have lost the Shield if Messi was not playing. Unfortunately, the timing of his lack of games for Miami confused the voters. Yeah, and also to I found out today that I think the weight is so the players, the coaches, and the journalists vote on this. I want to say it's 40, 40, 20, 40 coach, 40 player, 20 journalist, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see how he's voted among his peers. I think the journalists will definitely vote for him, but I don't know how the players will vote from. I don't know how they're going to vote when they cast it. But I mean, he's the most valuable player. Mr. says he has been incredible. He was for Barca back in the day. I agree. Given a full season, 50 goals wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he could easily score 50 goals in a season if he's got the right service and he's healthy. I mean, he's missed 14 games. He's only played in probably 15 full games, right? A full 90 in 15 games. So let's just say he's missed 17 games this year. And he's got 17 goals in 15 games. So let's just double it, right? Bare minimum double it. If he played 32 games this year or 30 games this year, he would have had 34 goals and 30 assists. That is insane. Carlos Vela in 2019 had 34 goals and I want to say 19 assists. Let's see. That was the season that Carlos Vela went off, had best season of his career. Carlos Vela had, I'm looking it up right now. It's loading pretty slow. Okay, so Carlos Vela in 2019 is MVP season. Okay, he had 34 goals and 15 assists. Messi's got that, and that was in 31 games. Messi has that in 15 started. That was 2,700 minutes by Carlos Vela. Messi's played 1,400 minutes. He's almost played double the amount of time. Roller says, thoughts on Miami going to the Club World Cup before MLS Cup? We will get to that. We will get to that in a second. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to go an hour. I don't know if some of you guys missed this tuning in a little late. We're going to have Favian Rankle on in probably the next 10 minutes. Get some of his thoughts. and we'll see what he thinks about all this, see how he feels about Miami. We're going to talk about the Supporter Shield versus MLS Cup. It should be interesting. Kind of curious what you guys think about that. That's a topic that gets people definitely riled up. Mr. says you're actually convinced me here. Look, Mr. I'm telling you, if you really sit back and think about it, just okay. See this right here? See this 17-15? Put it at 26 and 24. Okay. Say Messi played 26 games and 24 starts, and he had 17 assists and 17 goals and 15 assists. You would probably give him the MVP if he played more games with the same stats. Why wouldn't you give it to him with less games with these stats? If you literally left him with the same goals and same assists, which he would have more if he played that many more games. But if he played if you just change the only thing on the screen you change is the amount of games he's played just by 8. So he's played 25 games. Everybody would say Messi's MVP. It's not even close. That's what they would say. Roller says, but in that aspect, the Golden Boot doesn't mean anything. Benteke might win it, and his team is close to missing the playoffs. He can score, but can't elevate his team. Yeah, I don't think Christian Benteke is going to win MVP. He's going to win the Golden Boot, which he's rightfully earning and deserving of. But his team is not good, and you have to have a decent team if you want to win MVP. The last time that a MLS player won MVP and their team didn't make the playoffs was Mike McGee in 2013. That was the last time an MLS MVP did not win. I'm sorry, that's the last time the MLS MVP didn't make the playoffs, was in 2013. Messi has outperformed his goals expected. Let's see, goals and assists. He also has a way better per 90 than any. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when he plays, he's second to none. Nobody's better than him. Jaden the man. Sorry, I forgot to mention your name. Nobody's better than him when he plays. Nobody. And look, I'm not trying to just like, oh, this is a mess. Like, I'm not trying to like make this the biggest pro Messi movement or like just fawning over him. I'm just being honest. Like I've had an epiphany. Like I've seen it through a different light. He deserves MVP, and he not only keep this in mind too. Inter Miami last season were they the second to last worst team in the league? Let's see. I'm looking at the standings right now. Okay, so Inter Miami was the third worst team in the league last year. Okay, the third worst team in Major League Soccer last year, and now this year they won the Supporter Shield. They're going to break They're going to almost curse there. They're going to break the MLS points record. They went from third worst team to the best team in the league. And hey, let's transition before Favi gets here because he'll be here in a minute. Let's talk about this a little bit. I want to get you guys involved and see what you guys think about this. Okay, which do you think is more important, Supporter Shield or the MLS Cup? Let me know. Do you think the Supporter Shield or MLS Cup is the more relevant trophy in Major League Soccer? Manuel, a member of the chat, which I appreciate, he said, as a Crew fan, Messi beat us. That set piece was marvelous. Can't hate on him, although most Inter supporters will disappear in 2 years. Hey, we'll see. We'll see what they can do to replace them. But let me know that. So, okay, so we got a couple of them. We got a couple people in here. Soccer Daddy says the Shield. Manuel says MLS Cup. Luke says MLS Cup. Wrestler Talk News says Suarez seriously lost too much position today. He can easily score a hat trick. Mr. says Benteke's been better since DC got rid of Rooney and brought someone in who knows how to use him. Rooney was excellent. Was an excellent player, but as a manager, he doesn't have it. Elmer says in Europe, EPL, the Supporters Shield is the actual winner of the league. Look at I'm assuming you're talking about Man City, 4-time winner of the EPL Supporter Shield. Shield, because of MLS Cup, all you need to do is have a good few games in the Shield, but how you normally win a league in Europe because you need to be good all year. Okay. All right. I'll give you my thoughts on this. Okay. Before I do, if you haven't already, please like the show. It really helps me out. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're growing like crazy. This is the biggest MLS, the biggest MLS channel, I think, on YouTube. I don't think it's even close. So I appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and also hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. So here's my thoughts on it, okay? The Supporter Shield loses a lot of merit in MLS because teams don't play every other team. Miami probably played 22 of or 21 to 22 of the 29 teams in Major League Soccer this year. So how can you say you're the best team in Major League Soccer on the regular season front when you haven't played every single team in the league? In the Premier League, in Serie A, Eredivisie, French League, Portuguese League, whatever it may be, you play every single team twice a year. You play at home, you play away. Equal opportunity. And that is why the winner of that, the league table, is the winner of the league. Major League Soccer, that's not the case. LAFC just played the New York Red Bulls, guys, for the first time in 3 years. 3 years. Now, keep this in mind. There was a team in the Premier League who had been relegated and promoted 2-year stretch and has played more recently a Premier League team than the Red Bulls had played LAFC. Teams getting promoted and relegated have played more frequently than LAFC and the Red Bulls. So that just really hurts the credibility. And the playoff system is, I think, I'm a big fan of the playoff system. Okay. Now, if we had every team playing every team and that was the decider of the league, fine, sure, whatever. Okay. That's fine with me too. But the MLS Cup playoffs and MLS Cup means more to me because you do have to be a good team. How often would one team get lucky enough to win 4 matches in a row? Like, I think that does measure how good of a team you are. How you are able to win an MLS Cup, how deep your team is, how you're able to prevail in tough environments and high pressure games. Every game matters in the playoffs. So the MLS Cup matters more because you have to, and on top of this, it's not watered down. You're not playing bad teams. You're playing good teams. You're playing every team. Well, maybe in MLS it's a little watered down because 19 teams make the playoffs, or 18 teams make the playoffs. But you're playing the 18 best teams, or have the 18 best teams in the playoffs in the league, and you have to beat some good teams to win that cup. It's the trophy. I feel like the playoff system does have the reward and usually promotes the best team, or they win the best team wins. Look at, just to use a comparison because there is no soccer comparison. Look at the NFL. The Chiefs, a lot of people think, are the best team in the league. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. They didn't just crown them the champion because they had the best record or whatever it may be. They won the Super Bowl. They were the best team in the league, probably through the regular season too. They had to be battle tested. They had to prove themselves in the playoffs, and they did that. Let's see. Just read a couple comments. We got Favi in the waiting room. We'll get him here in just a second. Clara says MLS Cup is more famous. I think consistently Supporter Shield should be being crappy in the entire season than winning. But here's the thing, Clara. Who has ever been crappy the whole season and won MLS Cup? Who's done that? Who has been a bad team and won MLS Cup? Roller says, I think it's very simple. Supporter Shield is a harder trophy to win. You got to be perfect all season. Imagine if a team like Toronto wins MLS Cup after barely. But that's the thing. You're saying that that's possible. I mean, it is possible, but it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's get Favian here because I know he's got a little bit of a time crunch. Let me get him in here. Oh, wrong one. In one sec, Favi. Favi, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? What up?
Well, we've had a little bit of a debate tonight. I don't know if you were watching before you hopped in here. We talked a little bit about Messi and MVP, but let's keep it relevant because we'll get back to that. We'll close it out with you. We're debating the Supporter Shield and the MLS Cup. Okay.
Wait, hold on. You guys are debating which one's bigger?
Yes. Which one matters more, Supporter Shield or MLS Cup?
Let's take a look at what is celebrated. I mean, yesterday they won the Supporter Shield and there was no celebration on the field. There was nothing. So is that even a trophy? Like, come on. It's an accolade.
What? No, I agree. I think the MLS Cup matters more. But what do you say to the people in the chat who say the MLS Cup, or I'm sorry, the Supporter Shield is the league winner or the deciding of the league winner in every other league in the world, soccer wise? What do you say to that?
Well, we're not the rest of the world, baby. We're American. We do playoffs here.
Yeah, no, I agree. But and that's another thing too. I said that, every team doesn't play every team. How can you say you're the best team?
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. The schedule, you don't play every team twice. So I never liked the whole Supporter Shield anyway. And then I've talked to a couple of people before. It's like, well, you can't really do the schedule like that in America because then the travel distance would be just too much. And I'm like, well, if you want to have a legitimate Supporter Shield, you're going to have everybody play everybody. And you have to make it work out. The schedule needs to be done a little bit better.
Yeah, and also, too, like, the fact that the New York Red Bulls and LAFC haven't played in 3 years until this year, I said this earlier, there had been Premier League teams that had been relegated to the championship and got promoted back to the Premier League who have played more recently than LAFC and New York Red Bulls had. And also, too, Fabi, this is what people are saying, too. This is another counter argument, right? They say, but Will, Favi, you get these terrible teams. They can win. They can get lucky. You can have a bad team win the MLS Cup. When is the last time? Me and you have been covering this league for a long time, right? When is the last time a bad MLS team made the playoffs and won the MLS Cup?
Yeah, I would say Colorado.
And right? How long ago was that?
Like 2013, right? If I'm
That's like 2010. 2010.
Yeah.
And the league only had like 16 teams back then.
But I just don't think that happens now, especially with the win 2 out of 3 as well. So I don't think Toronto is Toronto's a little different, but I don't believe Charlotte's going to beat, Inter Miami 2 out of 3 times if they played in a 2 out of 3 best, right? So I just think it's going to be tough to go ahead and do so.
Well, not only that, but like, okay, I'm going to bring up this comment by DLife HD. Appreciate the support, by the way. Recognize your name and on Twitter. Balanced schedule won't work until there's an MLS 1 and MLS 2. Now, I think that long term is the move, because when you do that, then obviously you can have 19 games where everybody plays each other twice. But the problem is that they're not going to get rid of the playoffs still. The playoffs are always going to be king in America. They're going to always promote the playoffs. It's always going to dictate who wins the championship in Major League Soccer. Now, the Supporter Shield winner is compensated with the Champions League spot, right? And this is a counterpoint I have. I'm gonna ask you this too, Fabi.
And rumor now a CONCACAF, a World Cup, club
World Cup.
Yeah, so that's rumored now. So interesting.
Let me ask you this, Fabi. If the Premier League said the hell with it, right? We're going to implement a playoff system. So the top 4 finishers in the Premier League are going to play in a playoffs. The 1 seed's going to play the 4 seed, and 2 seed's going to play a 3 seed. Would that not be the craziest ratings game for a soccer league we have ever seen?
100%.
A Premier League playoffs? It would. And if anybody in the chat disagrees, they're delusional. It would. I'm telling you right now, it would.
Take a look at college football. It literally went from no playoffs to playoffs, right?
Yeah, it did. It was one championship game that people decide who it was. Now it's a playoff system. The ratings are higher than they've ever been. And I'm telling you right now, imagine last year that I can't remember what the order was, but I know that Manchester City and Arsenal were like 1-2 last year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Man City was 1, Arsenal was 2. Imagine if they had the playoff system and then those two met in the final. Dude, the ratings for that would have been bigger than the Super Bowl on crack.
Well, Super Bowl is kind of a different thing. I would say Super Bowl is cultural day.
Well, but just think about this though. We're talking. The only reason why I say that, because obviously the Obviously, soccer is a global sport, but it is a league, right? It's a league and not the World Cup where every country's involved. It's
Right.
just it's one country. But the ratings would be insane. I couldn't even imagine how much money that would produce. So I personally believe MLS Cup matters more because it's the true champion of the league. I think the Supporter Shield is not irrelevant completely. Now I saw Hurt Gomez called it the cheese plate earlier, whatever he called it. I don't remember. I don't remember what the exact term was, but I don't want to discredit completely because it is impressive, right? I mean, you did get the most points, but it's not the champion of the league.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't play every team, you're not the champion of the league, in my opinion. And also, what gives you a star on your jersey, right? That's what fans care about.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree. I agree. Let's see. Let's get a couple comments, and then I'll ask you the question we were talking about earlier. Soccer Dice says Miami won the Shield. People suddenly decide which one is better, MLS Cup or Shield, like common. Where was this question before? No, I
no,
promise you. I promise
yeah.
you. We were all saying this before.
Yeah, Cincy fans have always brought this up, especially last year when Columbus won the final and then Cincy won the Shield. It was going back and forth. Might have been an Ohio question, but definitely was there before.
Yeah, for sure. Mister says personally, I think the Supporter Shield shows consistency for a season, so it's a bigger deal than it gets credit for being. But MLS Cup is the main prize every year. Now, I could agree with that. I could say the Supporter Shield is undervalued, but the MLS Cup is still going to be king of the trophy cabinet in Major League Soccer. That's just how it's going to be for the foreseeable future.
But also look about this, or think about this. How can the Supporters Shield be better than MLS Cup when you're having games played in international breaks, right? Like you are missing some players due to international break, but in the MLS playoffs, that's not the case. You have an international break and they stop the playoffs. So you guys will see coming up, there's going to be an international break during the playoffs, and it's going to feel a little wonky. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Isaiah Carter says, a friend of mine, I wish I could hop on one of these with you, dude. I appreciate it, man. Maybe we'll get you in here one time or sometime in the near future. We'll talk some DC United. Soccer Daddy says nobody watches the Super Bowl outside the US. Come on, man. Yes, they do. Yes,
They
they
watch the
do.
halftime performance, and that counts, right?
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, how many games are being played internationally now? Why do you think that is? Why are
Right.
they playing games in Brazil and Mexico and Germany and England? It's because there is an appetite for football, but it's not. And I'm not even comparing it to soccer. It's not even close. But there is an appetite. We don't have to, put down the NFL because to bring up the soccer.
The halftime show alone gets enough clicks around the world. So
Yeah, it's a
that's
free show, right?
right. So that's personally if that's part of the Super Bowl, everybody in the world watches the Super Bowl. That's for sure.
Let's see. Elmer says, so why don't you have the best West versus best East? Sounds logical.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Maybe like a supporter shield game, but then you're adding another game. Not a bad
Uh,
idea, personally. Not a bad idea. I kind of like it.
yeah, but isn't that just what the playoffs is essentially?
Yeah, but just one game, right? I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, Elmer, I don't look. This league's always trying to innovate, but man, we gotta shorten the load. We've already got too much of a load with this wonky schedule, and we're about to go through a 2-week break. Keep that in mind, guys. This is it 2 weeks. I want to say it's the fifth. No, it's the 15th. Okay, so we have 12 days of a break, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for Major League Soccer. So we're gonna take a break, which sucks because things are really starting to ramp up, right? And now we're going to halt it. Last night was crazy. So that sucks a little bit, but that's another reason, kind of what you pointed to, Favi. You can't call someone the best team or give this trophy that much merit when all these players and are missing time because of international duty, whatever it may be. I mean, Messi was hurt, but how many games did he miss this year because of Copa America?
I think it
Like
was
7?
like 7, yeah, 7 or 8. And plus the other games too, not just Copa America, like the ramp up to Copa America, like every other Argentina game he missed too.
Yeah, exactly. So
Or he went to excuse me. Yeah.
I think that okay, he says no playoffs, just so this is what he's saying. He's not saying an extra game, Favi.
Oh,
He's saying that the winner of the league is just the first place finisher of the East versus the first place finisher of the West.
nah.
That would happen. Listen, Elmer. I like the idea, But the problem is, man, this is a money-driven league. They got to make money, man. They lose too much money if they do that.
All jokes aside, I know we were all pretty mad about the new playoff schedule, but last year everybody was enjoying it. Once it went down and once the players started playing, I thought everybody started enjoying it, especially the markets where their teams are out of it. They kind of had a little extra time to look at the other teams and get to know the other teams. And I felt like it kind of really trimmed the fat. I mean, I know people that are just San Jose Earthquake fans and didn't watch, but I also know a lot of San Jose Earthquake fans that watched other teams of the Western Conference because they were still in the playoffs. So it was interesting to see.
Okay, I was wrong. So pardon me, guys. I was wrong. So we do have games Saturday. For some reason, I thought that there was the break had already started. I thought this midweek games were it. So they're playing games on Saturday. Then there's going to be a 1 week break, and then Columbus and New England are going to play, and then so everybody's getting everybody's still getting a 2 week break. So October 5th, and then they'll get a 2 week break, and the decision day is October 19th. So a little weird, right? But I mean, I guess they're doing it obviously because of the international break with the friendlies and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Favi, let's get to this. This is a discussion we had earlier with the chat. Okay, who is your 2024 MLS MVP?
So this is what I preemptively voted or made this kind of a poll on Twitter, and I was a little shocked at what the results were. First of all, I asked about Messi, if he was your MVP of the year. That was actually 55 out of 327 votes. 55 of the percent of the people said no, Messi is not your MVP. And then I went ahead and I asked Luis Suarez, and this one actually kind of shocked me. I'm not going to lie. Out of 116 votes, 80% said no. So I think the pulse of the nation or MLS doesn't believe that Suarez should even be on the ballot for MVP. We asked about Evander, 186 votes, about, 51% said no. So that was a little bit less, than Messi too. So a little interesting there.
And damn, that's kind of harsh, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he should win MVP, but I think he should at least be in the conversation. Like he'd probably be third or fourth place. But I mean, damn, they say that they don't think he should be in the conversation.
Yeah, well, it's just a little interesting to see because I also did Cucho, and then is Cucho your MVP? 56% of people said no. So it's really all over the place. There is
who is voting? Is everybody sabotaging everybody?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. But out of 140 votes, I mean, everybody got no. Like every single player that I gave, those are the 4 contenders for MVP, in my opinion, and everybody voted really no as a majority. So it's interesting to see. For me, I think my MVP has to either be Messi or Suarez. And if everyone believes that Suarez doesn't deserve MVP, then it has to go to Messi.
So if you're now, I don't know if you got a vote yet, right? If you don't, it'll happen soon. If you're casting your vote, who are you voting for right this moment? You got to make the decision. Suarez or Messi, who you voting for?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think I would vote for Suarez. And I think Suarez deserves it because of the longevity or how many games he had. I still value that a little bit more than Messi, to be honest. I think games played deserves a little bit of it's not like it's a negative stat to play more games. I think it should be a little bit more of a positive, even if you didn't perform, because Suarez is a different type of player. He can get you free kicks. He can get you fouls. So there's a whole bunch of things that go into it. Miami didn't skip a beat when Messi was gone, and they won the Supporter Shield because of that reason. But I think I'm leaning to more Suarez. That's for sure.
Okay, so here's my thought on it. Okay, I would vote for Messi, and here's why. I originally had said that I believe that him not playing a significant amount of games is disqualifying. Just like I think Evander playing on a bad team is disqualifying. Not to slight him, I think he is definitely having an MVP caliber season, but you can't give him the award because his team is not good. So being a really good player on a bad team, what does that really mean? You know, you're obviously not elevating your team good enough to a level of where they're considered a top team in the league. But let me just paint this for you or pose this question for you, Favi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people say Messi doesn't deserve MVP because he hasn't played enough games. Okay, So he has 17 goals and 15 assists, which are in line with several other people in the league. So don't change his stats. Don't change his goals. Don't change his assists. You see this right here. I'm sorry if the screen's a little small. You see this right here. This is games played and this is games started. Add 9 to both of those. So make this, or actually just add 8. Make that 25 games played and make that 23 games started.
Mhm.
Would you feel different about that? So you're not even changing his stats. You're just changing the amount of games he's played in. Doesn't that mean if you change that number alone, I think Messi would be a slam dunk for MVP?
Yeah, I guess, but you have to look at it too. Messi had like 4 assists in one game. So maybe a lot of those assists are like garbage time assists. You have to realize like the gravity of the points that they won or the goals and everything that he had, right? If I'm not mistaken, he takes the penalties for them, right? So little things like that you have to look into as
Oh,
well.
Messi takes the penalties? I don't think so. I think Suarez does.
No, I think it's Messi nowadays.
Are you sure? I thought it was either Suarez or someone else, like maybe. Oh God. I don't even know how many. I don't think Miami gets a lot of penalties. I don't think they scored a lot of penalty goals this year. Is there a way we can look that up and see how
Yeah,
many?
I think I'm gonna look at transfer mark right now and see how many penalty goals he's had this year.
If anybody in the chat knows, let us know for sure. Like how many penalty goals Messi's had.
Who takes their penalties? I don't feel like it's maybe they just don't get them. Like
I don't think they do, but I think Suarez takes them when they do. Okay, Roller says Messi has. See, he says that Messi has taken like 1 or 2 penalties this year, so he's really not taking that many, man.
Yeah.
Like he's not taking that many penalties. So
also,
look,
let's look at this assist number. Is it hockey assists? Because he got an assist on when they played against New York City, and that's not an assist, right? So we have to look at that.
He's got 10 legit assists. If you want to do normal soccer assists, he's got 10.
Okay.
It's still good. It's double digits, right?
Yeah.
And look, the only argument people have made, including myself until this weekend, where I had an epiphany and I'm like, yo, it is what it is. Messi's MVP. The only thing people argued is he hasn't played enough games. Nobody's arguing his stats. And that's why I say if you add 8 games, man, don't add any numbers to his goals or to his assists. Just add more games. Would you vote for him? Everybody would say, yeah, they would. So if you would vote for him with the same stats he has with 8 more games, why the hell wouldn't you vote for him with 8 less games? That's more impressive.
Yeah, or we still have 2 games left, right? So that too.
We still have 2 games. What if he scores? Okay, Benteke has 22 goals, right? Or actually, hold that one aside. Hold that one aside because I think this one's a better point. Look at Denis Bouanga. Denis Bouanga has played in 30 games this year. Okay, he's played in 13 more games than Messi, and he's got 1,100 more minutes played than Messi. He's got 2 more goals. He's got 5 less assists, and he's played in almost double the amount of minutes in games.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah. And look, Suarez, your boy, right? I thought Suarez definitely could have won MVP, but the only way that Suarez could have won MVP is if he was able to have won the Golden Boot. I think if he'd won that, it would have been over with. It wouldn't matter what Messi's assists were, his goals were. Suarez would have locked it up. He would have been MVP back-to-back, Brazilian League and Major League Soccer. But he had a slump. He's struggled to score until last night. He had a 3-game drought. So he's at 18. He's not even in second place anymore. And he only has 6 assists. And who knows how many real assists he has? He probably only has like maybe 3.
Who's in second place for you?
For MVP?
Yeah.
Probably Cucho.
Even after the penalty kick miss?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's still having a good season. Look, it can't just be about the one game. It's got to be about the whole season. And there's still
man. It's got to be about pride time games too. Like when can you perform against good teams type of thing.
Well, I mean, I think he's had a good season in totality. I mean, he still has 17 goals and 13 assists. And his team is second place in the East. That's why I would have him over Evander. Evander has 2 less goals and 5 more assists, but he also is their team is like 9th place. Cucho Hernandez is a valuable player on a good team. So that tells me he makes his team better. Evander, now this argument people will say, but if Evander wasn't on Portland, they'd be even worse. Okay, but they're still ass. What does that mean? They're not good anyways. Who cares? Right. If you take Cucho Hernandez off of Columbus, I think that there would be a very dead, like if you took Cucho Hernandez off Columbus, would they be a worse team than if you took Evander off of Portland?
No.
I think they would. I think they would.
Really?
I don't think Columbus is winning an MLS Cup without Cucho Hernandez.
Really?
Without a replacement at least, right? Now look at this too. This is something people aren't talking about. Favi, they say that Portland is ass, or that Evander is taking a terrible team and elevating them. I'm sorry to say ass so much, but I mean that's what they say. They say that
Yeah.
he is taking a terrible team and elevating them, right? Well, what about this guy, this other Uruguayan striker by the name of Jonathan Rodriguez, who has 16 goals and 7 assists for Portland? He hasn't been bad. They have help,
Yeah.
and they're still ninth place. How many teams in this league don't have a striker at all?
Yeah,
So,
Portland's defense, when we thought it was going to be more reinforced this year, it has just completely been bad.
yeah, and Maxime Crepeau is a historically good goalkeeper. I don't know what that. I mean, obviously the back line's not been good, but he hasn't been good either this year. I don't think he's been good. But you look at this team; they have okay. So Suarez and Messi combined have 35 goals, and they have 21 assists. Okay, Evander and Jonathan Rodriguez combined have 31 goals, and they have 25 assists. One team has 68 points, one supporter shield. The other has like 40 something points, and they're ninth place in the Western Conference.
Well, the Western Conference is the better conference.
No, hell no. The Eastern Conference is definitely better.
I don't know.
Chat, settle the debate. Which conference is better, East or West? Let us know.
If Portland was in the East, they would be in third or fourth spot.
But they'd be playing an Eastern Conference schedule, though. If you take the points, yeah, but they'd also have to play Eastern Conference teams. So who knows how many they would win? So let's see. Okay, so eighth place is 40 points, right? They have 45. So they would still be in eighth place, Favi, in the Eastern Conference.
But the talent level of the Eastern Conference from 4, 5, 6, 7 is completely different.
Okay, all right. Let's read the comments. West, Elmer says East, Cringe says East, Soccer Daddy says East filled up good. Roller says the Eastern Conference is way harder. Mister says East, and Cringe says and Portland would get tossed in the East. Yes, I'm telling you, they'd be even worse. I mean, look at your poor San Jose, man. They got 21 points. This is a poverty club.
San Jose is a USL club. All right, come on now.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're that good. I don't even know if they're that good. I think they might be an indoor rec club or something, man. We got a couple. Ernest says West, and Timothy Park says West. The East, I think, is definitely deeper. I mean, Miami's good, Columbus is good, Cincy's good, Orlando's okay. Since I think New York City's decent, New York Red Bulls are good. I just there's too many inconsistencies in the Western Conference. I think it's top heavy. I think the only two clubs that legitimately have a chance MLS Cup in the Western Conference is LA Galaxy and LAFC.
Seattle.
I don't think Seattle has a chance in hell.
They're healthy now.
Dude, they could be healthy. They could. What's that stuff in Space Jam? Michael Jordan's secret. What the hell is that called? They could be drinking that, dude. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter, man. It wouldn't matter because, I mean, Miami's a serious contender. Obviously, Columbus is a serious contender. Cincinnati's a serious contender.
If you think Cincinnati is a serious contender, I got news for you.
What's your news?
They don't have a single center back on that roster that's healthy.
I know everybody's injured, but look, there's still time. I mean, the playoffs don't even start for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. A lot can happen between then. Miles Robinson's healthy.
I would say the Seattle Sounders are more likely to win the MLS Cup than Cincinnati. They've been there before. Man. They've won it before. They're battle tested. They know how to win playoff games.
I think they're washed though.
Yeah, but since he's never done it before.
Soccer Day says no chance Seattle. No chance. That's the word. No chance Seattle, man. No chance. I mean, because look, they just don't have they have this core these core players who've been there for so long, Favi. Sorry, I didn't mean to comment to block your face.
No worries.
They have these core players where they're old, they're washed, they're not good anymore. Jordan Morris, Raul Ruiz, João Paulo he's good, but just all these players.
De La Vega and Paul Rothrock, all right? different.
De La Vega's good, but he's been injured so much this season. I know he's healthy now, but how long is that going to last? And you think Pedro De La Vega is good enough to elevate that team to win an MLS Cup?
Hey, who knows? Anything can happen.
When the man who's walking on water, Evander, apparently can't even get his team to a top 5 finish in the Western Conference.
I don't know. Portland in a playoffs series, I think, could have a chance.
Portland?
They just have to outscore. I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know. I like this kind of playoff series, but if Portland has to win the play-in game and then they have to go play the Galaxy, it's gonna be tough. But let's say they had to play like Seattle and it was Portland Seattle in the first round. Shoot, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, but the only thing is that to do that, they'd have to move up to the 6th seed, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they lost a lot of points last night.
And that's another thing. They choked last night against Austin, right? So that's just, yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm so excited about the playoffs, though. This is on, like, no joke. I mean, I'm not just hyping it up. I'm super excited. We were shorted last year, not getting to see Messi and Miami in the playoffs. This will be the first time we get to see them.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that looks like and see what they do. There's a lot of good teams. I think this is the first time there are probably 5 to 6 legitimate. Now, me and you can debate on who they are. But I think me and you could agree on at least that there's 5 to 6 legitimate contenders in Major League Soccer.
I would say there's only 4, to be honest.
Who's your 4?
LA, Miami, Columbus.
I think Cincinnati could compete. If they figure out the center back situation before the season's over, I think that they could compete. And I think if it wasn't for Chicho Arango being hurt and all the issues with him, I think RSL could have made some noise.
Yeah.
I just think that they got derailed at the wrong time.
Yeah, they're like barely making the playoffs emotionally and morally.
But how good were they at the beginning of the season? Imagine if that team was like heading into the playoffs.
Chicho Arango was going head to head with Messi in terms of stats. I remember that.
Oh man, if Chicho Arango had played this whole season, dude, he could have been MVP.
It all went downhill after he got suspended for 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a bad year for him, which is crazy because it started off so well for him, and then it just went off the rails. Roller says this is the most exciting playoff season in like 2 or 3 years. I 100% agree.
Really?
There's a lot that I mean, last year was kind of boring, man. I mean, look, the Galaxy have been irrelevant. Miami hasn't been in.
Wait, the Galaxy were there 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but they weren't competitive. Like this is an LA Galaxy team in the playoffs that legitimately could win it.
Yeah. Well,
that's good for the league.
Yeah.
And LAFC is good too. Look, both of these teams are legitimate contenders, and they're both in the playoffs, which is good for the league. I'm excited, man. Roller says there's a lot of names to look after this playoffs. Yes, it's gonna be. I'm pumped, man. I really am.
This is when the real season starts. All right, guys.
This is the final stretch where you get excited. Anything can happen. We'll get like a 2-week break, which I'm not a fan of, but we'll get a 2-week break before the decision day, and then the playoffs will start shortly after. So, dude, I am very, very excited about that. Cringe says MLS and Apple will salivate with the amount of eyeballs watching playoffs this season. Okay, ready for this, Favi? I think that this playoffs is going to be as successful and popular as last year's Leagues Cup.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah, because Messi's playing, and every team that's playing is good, or at least decent, right? There's no San Jose playing
in the first round.
Say what?
Let's say they play Toronto in the first round.
Yeah.
That's not going to get that many eyeballs.
I think it will.
I think the second round is going to start to get eyeballs.
But hey, isn't that what you want though? You want your best team playing a bad team because people are going to tune in just to watch the good team. Like if it was New York City playing Toronto, the viewership would be absolutely abysmal. Yeah. Wouldn't you want it to be Miami because people are just going to tune in to watch Messi? So that's ideally what you'd want. Now, what do you think that a Miami Columbus Eastern Conference final rating would look like?
Oh, insane. I mean, yeah. And then a LA Galaxy Miami final would be like,
Wait, what did you think about this? Roller said this, mentioned this comment, and I saw this on Twitter, but
No,
I don't
so
know if it's true. Is that
it,
accurate?
it's not. It's not because Apple doesn't release those numbers. So
Yeah.
CNN messed up, or whoever made that graphic messed up because Apple doesn't release their any of their stats. So there's no way they get that number.
Yeah, we will yeah, 20 yeah, it's not 20.8 million. That never happened. I don't know. I don't know how they got that number. They pulled it out of somewhere. Hey, we got 46 people in here right now watching this live, Favi. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like this video down below. It helps us with the algorithm. We're trying to reach as many people as we can. Also, subscribe to the channel if you love the content. Appreciate all the support. My friend Favi is always jumping on here to talk MLS with us. He's going to be on again. He's going to be on more. He might even stop by for a live stream during the playoffs. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. Fabi, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up? We've almost went an hour. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah. This MLS season's been a long one. I've almost aged like 5 years, I feel like. But this playoffs will make it all worth it. That's for sure. Everybody's healthy. Everyone's going to get more healthy. So it's pretty nice to see. Maybe we even see Facundo Farias come back. Who knows?
Facundo Farias. Yeah, I don't think so. He can't. They got Redondo in it for him. I wish, but we can't see him, sadly. I think that this has been a good year. I obviously have people I criticize Major League Soccer. Some people get upset with me about that, but I'm genuinely excited for the MLS playoffs. It's more exciting than Leagues Cup for me. I think it's more exciting, means more because the MLS Cup trophy means more than the Leagues Cup trophy in my eyes. And we get to see Messi finally after a whole year of knowing he's been in Miami. We get to see what he looks like playing in the playoffs. So it's going to be exciting. Good teams, good start or good finish to the end of the season. It's going to be unpredictable. There's going to be plenty of content between here and then with predictions, people coming on talking with me about their teams. I'm so excited about it. Also, guys, real quick, if you haven't already, I also dropped a video earlier with Alexi Lawless talking about Pochettino to the USMNT. So make sure you check that out. I posted that like 10 hours ago. So go check that out if you haven't already. Favian Rankel is a good friend of mine. Real quick, let me say this. Favian Rankel is a good friend of mine. Make sure you'll give him a follow on Twitter. He's got the same at Favian Rankel. He's one of the best, if not the best journalist I know. And he's also a better friend than he is a journalist. So I appreciate him. Go show him some love and support. What were you going to say, Favi?
Yeah, I wanted to actually, at the end of this, kind of do our tinfoil hat time. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Put on your tinfoil hat real quick. When Messi won that supporter shield and they celebrated with that, do you think he picked up his Moss drink on purpose so that it would come out in the photos?
Probably.
Yeah, because you saw him with that Moss drink with Jorge Moss as well.
Yeah.
When they were holding that shield. And that's like the most iconic photo of the night, right?
Yeah. Did you see where he looked like he was crying too? Jorge Moss? Yeah.
Imagine being Body Armor and seeing that. You sponsor the league, and then the biggest player in the world brings a different drink into the locker room, and then it comes out in the photos, right? It's interesting. It's like, I don't think Body Armor is going to be too happy about that one.
No, we'll have to see. But he has plausible deniability, right? He could just say, "No, I was just picking up my drink. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know I was being photographed." Yeah, I mean, definitely. Elmer says 100%. His reps made him hold the Moss drink. Yes, he was going to place it on the chair and then grab the shield with the bottle. And Soccer Daddy says, yes, he did. Yeah, I mean, he can deny it, but he probably did, man. I mean, it's smart move, right?
It's
everybody's gonna see it.
It's just crazy to see that Messi like being good at this now, right? You know, he's always been like the humble, doesn't want the attention, is the nice guy. But then now that he's a Miami guy, he's like, let me get this product placement right here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Fabi, listen, man, I appreciate you hopping on here with me as always. Appreciate everything you do. Like I said, guys, make sure you give him a follow at Favian Rankel. He does great work. You won't be disappointed with following him. Like the show if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, I appreciate the support. Hope you guys have a great night. We'll be doing more of these streams. Until next time, I'll see you all soon.